Hello again. Now, it's Peter the Rock. It's Friday the 16th of February. I'm looking up the canal that way. For some reason, my camera keeps stopping. I'm not sure if I'm being jammed or I don't really know what's going on. But anyway, it's a beautiful day. There is Dominique along the viaduct as far as it's got so far, and in fact there are quite a few people wandering around this intermittently closed path, which is quite encouraging. So it's obviously intermittently opened today. That's looking south along the Grand Union Canal. There's a lake over there, there's an orange suited person, and there is the nearest pier. Well, yes, there's the nearest pier to the canal on the west side. So it seems as if they don't mind the odd spectator wandering about the place, having a look to see what's going on, thankfully. Although the signs at the entrance to this pathway, U34, were discouraging, let's put it that way. So I don't know what people would do who try to try to sail. What do you call it when you're moving a narrowboat from one place to another, perhaps to get some water, because they can't come through this bit? But there are quite a few people about. I saw a cyclist earlier. A squirrel followed me along a side path. I've got here via a side path because the main path is in fact sealed off. And here is a crane lowering its jib to pick something up. So far no one's shouted at me for being in a forbidden area, and hopefully that will continue. And one thing I've realised is what this is. Now there used to be, for many months, a footbridge across the canal. It's funny how you don't notice things that are missing. Well, it's now missing. So they've taken it down, presumably because they're quite near to putting the main trackway across the canal. There are no signs of movement from Dominique, and not many people, orange suited people, near here. So I don't really know if anything exciting is going to happen. We can but hope. But I've never been this close to sort of piers and cranes, working cranes, and this magnificent structure here, which isn't really a pier because it's higher than a pier. So I don't quite understand what that's doing there. And of course it's a matching fellow, or fellow's perhaps a bit sexist. There's a very similar setup the other side of the canal. So things are happening. It's Friday, it's about 11:30. Here comes the crane with his jib, and he hasn't picked anything up, I can see. So I don't know what he's going to do. Perhaps his friend has bought him some lunch and he's going to pick that up. Although it would be easier just to climb down the steps of the crane. I just don't know. Anyway, I'm on a footpath which is intermittently closed, or closed intermittently, as I prefer to say, but it's also open intermittently. And this it's very pleasing to be able to see all these features of the HS2 viaduct crossing the Grand Union Canal. On this side, again, it asks horse riders to dismount, use the walkway. Never ever seen a horse rider. But again, there's also a very good view of a pier there with its holes in it, which are used, as I've said in the previous video, they pass wires through them to tighten everything up and hold the whole thing together. They must be pretty big wires, and I don't quite know how they thread them through, but then I was never very good at sewing, or in other words threading cotton through the eye of a needle. But here we are. What else is there to see? I hope that you've enjoyed this. I said in a previous video how rare it was to see Dominique end on, not expecting to see it again. It's about 3 weeks since my last video here, and you can see it end on now, which shows that it's actually quite a narrow structure. From the side it looks more substantial, and this is a fairly unique scene of the progress on the HS2 viaduct crossing the Grand Union Canal south of Harefield. With the final view of Dominique, I'll sign off. I'll see if I can find my horse. Thanks very much for watching. It's Peter the Rock. It's Friday the 16th of February, about 11:30ish in the morning, and thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Cheers.